What's good? What's happening, my homies? Welcome back to another episode of Down Unders. I do apologize. The bro, Brody, is unable to come on to the show tonight. Unfortunately, guys, he got held up with a couple of things around home, but he does love and appreciate you guys, and we'll be back next week for sure. We'll definitely be talking about Pacific Championship next week as well, guys, because me and Brody will be going to watch the first game of the year with the Pacific Championships, Australia versus Tonga. But thank you so much to all the usuals coming through tonight. Jazzy, thank you so much, brother. Obviously, we had a good little chat in the comment section, so we will talk about, obviously, the Tongan squad versus Samoa squad, or even, the Tongan squad versus the Australian squad versus the New Zealand squad, which is the strongest squad overall in general. But I appreciate you coming through, my man. Tards, what's happening? Appreciate you coming through, Tards. And Krishan, what's happening? But yeah, guys, obviously the first bit of news I want to get with you guys today, it's not going to be like the usual Down Under sort of show, guys. It's probably going to run very similar to what we usually run with members only, and just bounce with you guys in the chat probably for a good hour or so, talk about the Pacific Championships, all the news and that. If you haven't checked out my thoughts overall on the grand final, guys, go check it out. I put a video up in my channel. It pretty much says everything that my overall thoughts of the grand final. Incredible performance from the Penrith Panthers. It's hard to beat a squad that's good, but just trying to set up a couple of things for the show tonight. Obviously, a lot of big news around the Pacific Championships, a lot of big in and outs. Liam Martin is the latest man to crash out of the Pacific Championships. It sucks so much, but you Kiwi fans understand that well too much, with the squad names and all that. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that a little bit later on, but I'll let everyone cruise in at the moment. I do apologize, guys. And also, I do apologize if you do hear any raining or thunderstorms. Currently right now, I'm having a thunderstorm around home. If my stream shuts off completely, I do apologize. Jazz, homemade burgers for the win. I love to hear it, but I love to hear it. All right, I love to hear it. But obviously, guys, yeah, the first bit of news I want to get to you guys with is there's no Liam Martin in the Australian camp for the Pacific Championship, pulling out late due to a shoulder injury. To me, yeah, a really devastating loss for the Australian camp. Obviously, Hudson Young comes in, a great little guy, great guy to come in and really fill in that spot. I think he's going to do an incredible job for us. But would have been nice to see Liam Martin, back up what he did in the grand final. I did notice, obviously, the shoulder had hampered him a little bit in the grand final as well. The padding on his shoulder was pretty hectic. If you notice, there was a couple of close-ups of him and him playing around with these shoulder issues. It's crazy. They had, obviously, Nathan Cleary and Liam Martin both coming in with shoulder issues. I'm pretty sure Liam Martin's been needled up. I saw news stories since round 14 this year, and it just shows how much these boys put their body through. And it was great to see that he got his name up on the list and all that. Sucks that he's pulled out late, but I'm sure Hudson Young's going to do a great job for us. Guys, also, yeah, as I did say before, this show is going to be a little bit different tonight, so please make sure you chuck into the chat. We'll just bounce with you guys, obviously, because no Brody tonight. Yeah, so the show is going to run a little bit different, but yeah, really, really crazy news with Liam Martin. Let me know in the comment section down below how you think about that. But obviously, yeah, really excited for the upcoming Pacific Championships. Like, the squads in general are looking amazing. We may as well jump straight over to it. Jazzy, not a problem, Ash. 7th, 10th, a choice in that position will still do a job. Yeah, well, that's exactly it. We're fairly lucky that we got a whole lot of contingents, like a whole lot of people that can fill in the spots there, where there's other Pacific Championship squads, which we'll touch on a little bit later, that do struggle to make up the added pieces to them. Sione Talfa, appreciate you coming through, my bro. Liam Martin looking at the Tongan squad said, "Nah, I'm out of this year." We will touch on the Tongan squad, man, and an incredibly strong looking squad. We'll get to that. If you haven't gone and checked out my YouTube short or my TikTok, I have touched on a lot of these Pacific Championship squads. Just a quick little thoughts. This is probably going to be my more long form type of thought. We'll bounce with you guys in the chat, but thank you for coming through, my bro. I think it's the first time I've seen you in the chat, my man. But yeah, thank you so much. All right, well, we may as well start with the Australian squad, guys. As I just said, to touch on, obviously no Liam Martin, so we will jump around with that. But we'll go through from top to bottom here. So the two captains of the squad, the overall captain, Isaiah Yeo, the vice captain, Harry Grant from the Melbourne Storm. Shout out to Mitch Barnett. Incredible news, Mitch Barnett getting the call up for the Australian Kangaroos job. And how good is it, like, you know, as a Warriors fan to see, you know, what he's done for us, but also, like, you know, what the Warriors have done for him, you know what I mean? And it's not that easy being a Warrior and getting yourself into top representative squads in Australia. Like, you guys know this, everyone, you know, that follows Bars Up TV or follows me personally being a Warriors fan, you know, we understand this. We haven't had that many origin players at the club, you know, Brent Tate's of the world, Steve Price of the world, Ryan Hoffman's of the world at the moment, Jacob Lillyman. I think they're all names so you can go off for like one hand, right? Then add that to being Australia or you know, Australian squads. But it just shows how hard that Mitch Barnett actually worked and got to this position. And shout out to the system. You know, we end up getting him to this level, which the Newcastle Knights were unable to do so as well. So that's a big thing that we can take away from it. But also, I don't want to take away from the player himself and what he's done for us in our club and, you know, the leader that he is. So absolutely incredible. What do you got here? Kurt Fleming, can't wait for the New Zealand and Australian game. Super stoked. It's in my hometown. You better be going today, Kurto, bro. You better be going to that. As I said, like, I will be going to the Australian versus Tongan game. So guys, if you are in Australia or whatever, you coming to Suncorp to watch Australia versus Tonga, please make sure you come and say hello and all that. I would love a good chat about, you know, the squads and how I'm feeling. I can't wait to see that Tongan squad in the flesh. Like, they look strong on paper. We will get to that very, very shortly. All right, Matty Burton for the Canterbury Bulldogs. Good to see Matty Burton get in there. Obviously, a very good utility. We'll talk about my thoughts overall. Most of these guys will be sitting. We'll do a little combined little list there. But yeah, we'll have to see. But incredible. You know, obviously, he can fill in the center. He can fill in. I can feel like he can fill in pretty much nearly any role on the football field. Old Matty Burton got the amazing bomb on him. We'll have to wait and see my thoughts. I don't see him probably starting at number 6. I see, you know, Tom Dearden, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But you know, I think he's going to be incredible in general, and maybe he gets a start against Tonga. Who knows? But again, looking at that Tonga squad, I don't know if there's any, you know, I would say quote unquote easy games really. And like, it's good to see the Pacific Championship step up to that level, even with the amount of outs that we have currently right now. Bradman Best getting a spot here for the Newcastle Knights. Crazy, amazing to see. Really well done from him. Obviously, the last time we saw him, he was injured. I think about a couple of games before the final series, and he just came back. Incredible little story there. It's good to see him in the Kangaroo squad. Paddy Carrigan as well for the Brisbane Broncos. Good to see him there. You know, I was having a little bit of back and forth for the bloke in my TikTok, pretty much saying that Paddy Carrigan wasn't that great this year, and he had a great year. Like, looking at his stats back over as well, I think it was top 3 overall for run meters as a lock, and he was number 1 run meters per average for a lock position, because when he got on those overall run meters, he actually had 3 games less than the number 1 player there, which was Isaiah Yeo. So on average, he runs more than any lock in the competition. He had more offloads than any lock in the competition, and a lot of other really big key areas. So we know how good Paddy Carrigan is, and I do expect him to play more of a front rower type of role when we got Isaiah Yeo and obviously Cam Murray there, but we'll talk a bit more about that in the future. Xavier Coates from the Melbourne Storm. Great to see him get a jersey too after the performances that he's had this year. As we know as Warriors fans, what he did to us, that horrible moment, the try of the year. Yeah, that was a disgrace, that was. But good to see him there. Obviously, a high, like, you know, crazy athlete on the wing. Him and Zach Lomax, if that is going to be our wingers for the thing, I think the athleticism is going to be really hard to handle for a lot of teams. Lindsay Collins in the South City with the... bro, I nearly screwed that up. Shout out to Roosters fans out there. From the Sydney Roosters, good old Lindsay Collins, incredible. Ruben Cotter, so really the heart of that, you know, the Queensland Maroon sort of side, getting put into this Kangaroo side as well. Angus Crichton, the probably one of the best edge back rollers, if not the best edge back roller this year. Incredible to see him there. Tommy Dearden, Dylan Edwards, Ben Hunt, Zach Lomax, Liam Martin, who is now out. Cross that name out. It is now Hudson Young in for Liam Martin. Mitchell Moses, who I expect to be the number 7 for the Australian Kangaroos for this one. Cam Murray, South Sydney Rabbitohs. Reece Robson for the North Queensland Cowboys. Lindsay Smith from the Penrith Panthers. Shout out to Lindsay Smith. Done really well to get that jersey there. And Hamiso Tabuai Fidel for the Dolphins. And last but not least, a guy that, you know, not many probably would have thought that he would have pushed through to get a Kangaroos jersey this year after the injuries, ins and outs. Tom Trbojevic, really great to see. Even though he ended the year this year in the final series, not looking 100%, still pushing through and getting a Kangaroos jersey. So really curious to see where you guys' thoughts on that. Tars, I'm happy to see debutants this year. Always looking forward to see how they go. And yeah, we're only a couple of years off of a World Cup year, so really, really excited to see, you know, a lot of these guys step up on the big stage, what they can do. Let's go through and run through our predicted Australian squad. So I've already started this, guys, while I was waiting for you guys, but I'll continue this on. So looking at the squad in general, my fullback at the moment would be Dylan Edwards. That's what my thoughts and overall. You know, Tom Turbo was hard to leave out of the squad, but Dylan Edwards has been probably the best fullback other than, you know, Teddy this year. So got to have Dylan Edwards in there. My wingers are Xavier Coates and Zach Lomax. I think those two are givens for me. Centers, this one's tough because I like Braden Best, but I would go Hammer and Turbo just as in the fact of I think Hammer as a center has proven to have massive moments this year. And, you know, Tommy Turbo, it's really tough when you have his name on paper. Like, you know, you got to put him in some sort of lineup somewhere. And I think, you know, another center position is probably the best place I could really put Tommy Turbo. Now with the halves pairing, our number 6, we're going to go Tom Dearden. I think, I'm really excited to see what Tommy Dearden can do on the big stage, international stage. I do hope in the future, well, we could say in the big stage, that becomes the forefront of rugby league. As you know me, if you know me personally, you know that I would love for rugby league to have international as the forefront overall, even coming from an Aussie as a Queenslander. I love State of Origin to death, but I just think it would be so cool to have, like, you know, these discussions with Kiwi fans and stuff, and then to bring up immortal, you know, discussions due to the fact of, like, you know, what's going on in the international and how the Kiwis are playing this and that. And I feel like it needs to get to that stage. So great to see Tommy Dearden hopefully touch the big stage there. And also Mitchell Moses is going to be my number 7 for my Australian jersey. So this is all off the top of my head, guys. I got my list next to me, so I'm just going off one by one. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts overall. Yeah, it's an amazing lineup. Yeah, we're fairly lucky that even with a couple of outs, we still got some boys that can do the damn thing. In the number 8 jersey, I would probably say who we got here in the front row. So we got Lindsay Collins, Ruben Cotter, running through Lindsay Smith. I wouldn't have him starting currently right now. I'm thinking of Paddy Carrigan up there too. Definitely as a starting front rower maybe this year. So I'm going to go Ruben Cotter. Oh, it's tough because Lindsay Collins and Ruben Cotter both for long minute forwards. They're the... Like, I feel like even Paddy does his best work long minute wise. So this is what makes the squad really, really tough to predict. Like as a lineup, really what Mal thinks overall. Comment what your thoughts are, guys. Who would you be start front rowers? I can't leave out Paddy Carrigan anywhere. So I'm going to go Carrigan because I do think we'll go with the easy one. Isaiah Yeo is definitely our 13. Is definitely going to be our lock. Unless, you know, Mal goes with very similar to what the Origin squad's gone with. You know, the Blues Origin squad didn't have Yo. They had him coming off the bench. But I do think that Yo will probably get the starting spot in the Australian jersey. On my right side, edge back rower. Actually, we go left side, edge back rower. That would be Angus Crichton. I think that's a given. That one, would it? We'll go Gus Bus, huh? We'll call him Gus Bus. Shout out Angus Crichton, probably been one of the best edge back rollers in the competition, if not the best. And we've got Lindsay Collins, so we'll chuck in Lindsay Collins, hey? Lindsay Collins. We'll put him up there. My number 9 for this one, my starting 9 would be Harry Grant. I think Harry Grant's now grown into becoming that starting number 9, and we'll probably look at having either Ben Hunt or Reece Robson on the bench. I'm going to go with Ben Hunt currently right now, but I think this one's a 50-50 call, so I wouldn't push away from anyone that wants Reece Robson off the bench as well. Reece Robson can cover that 13 jersey if he has to, but for me, when I'm looking at, you know, Benny Hunt, Benny can really cover, you know, halves and, you know, centers if you need him to, edge back row if you need. Like, there's so many different positions he can really do cover, but I think, you know, the versatility of him probably overweighs in that 14 jersey. So I'm going to go him. And that number 12. So now with Hudson Young coming in for Liam Martin. Liam Martin was definitely my given for that right side edge back rower role. You could possibly go Ruben Cotter starting on the edge, just like Queensland have done in the past. Looking at our other edge back roles that we have here, Cam Murray can play on the edge as well. So you could push, Angus Crichton to the opposite side, but I probably wouldn't do so. I would probably say Ruben Cotter might start as an edge back roller in international. Oh, maybe even Mitch Barnett. It'd be great to see Mitch Barnett get a spot there, but I'll probably go with that. Now moving on to the bench. Obviously we got ready Benny Hunt there. Let's see what other names we could put onto the bench here. This is really tough, guys. Like, honestly, this is just all off the top of my head right now. We're going to go Cam Murray. He's got to find his way in a jersey there. And then we're going to go 16th jersey. I'm going to give it to... What do you reckon, guys? What do you reckon? Mitch Barnett. We got to give it to Mitch Barnett. Shout out to my Warriors fans. We know the real deal here. We know. And we'll probably go Hudson Young. So that move actually makes it a really curious one on our predicted lineup now, because, Hudson Young, a predominant left side edge back roller, could probably cover on the right side as well. But, not his preferred side. So that's why I went Ruben Cotter on that right side edge back roller role. Defensively really strong there. Angus Crichton obviously is getting that left side. Cam Murray can come off the bench and do something there. You have to go Barney, bro. You have to go Barney. So that is my predicted lineup for the Australian Kangaroos for the first game against Tonga, or even, this is probably their best squad for me on paper. Let me switch out. Harry Grant's got his full name there. We'll do this, huh? There we go. All right, so in the fullback position, we're going to go Dylan Edwards. On both my winger positions, we're going to go Xavier Coates and Zach Lomax. In the centres, we're going to go Hamiso and we're going to go Turbo. Hamiso on the left, Turbo on the right. We're going to go Tommy Dearden and Mitchell Moses as the combination there. In the halves combination, I think that's our best two. You could probably even go Matty Burton there too as well, but really your thoughts overall in general. In the front row, we're going to go Paddy Carrigan and Lindsay Collins. Up in that number 9 position, we're going to go Harry Grant. On the left side edge back row position, we're going Angus Crichton. Right side, we're going to go Ruben Cotter. And all locked together, we're going to go Isaiah Yeo. Guys, let us know in the comment section or in the chat your thoughts overall, any things that you would change. Definitely, crazy load of names here. Reece Robson missing out's a tough one. You'd go Reece Robson, Jazz. Yeah, reward him for being a solo hooker and backup at rep level. Yeah, he was definitely incredible. And that's the thing. Benny Hunt and Reece Robson could switch in between for me. So you could probably run Reece Robson as a dual hooker sort of look. I just think that when you're looking at our hooker cover, Harry Grant's the best hooker in the game. So you got to have him up there. He's got to be starting really overall. And now it's just out of Benny Hunt and and Reece Robson of what do you want to cover? Do you want to be a hooker rotation, or do you want a guy that can cover that hooker rotation but also cover that 7 jersey if anyone goes down there? If we run out in the game day and Mitchell Moses goes down with injury, we're going to have to push maybe Tommy Deard into that 7 jersey and maybe push someone else into that. You could probably say Turbo, I guess, into that 6. But yeah, if Benny Hunt's there, you can cover Benny Hunt and keep, Tommy Dearden where he needs to be. So I think that's a fairly good squad on paper, to be honest. Fairly good squad on paper. All right, we may as well move on to the next team. Guys, we're going to go through the New Zealand Kiwis. So this one, a lot of big key outs for the Kiwis here. I even had a news story pop up and really, give us up, how many names the Kiwis are missing. So Ronaldo Mulatalo's out, Dylan Brown's out, Kieran Foran's out, Moses Leota's out with a shoulder, Brendan Smith's out with a knee injury. Jeremy Marshall-King's out with a knee injury. Britton Nakota is out with an ankle injury. Kale Iro is out with a hamstring injury. Tomato Martin's out with a neck injury. Nelson Sofa Solomon is out with suspension. And Joseph Manu's out because of rugby union. That is crazy. That is crazy. I totally feel for the Kiwis in this, overall. And, in general, I think the squad that they've named is fairly strong still. But, bro, it gives me back to those sort of like thoughts of like, I already made a video on this a while ago. If you guys are long-term fans of the channel, you'd know the video I'm talking about, but I've already spoken about my thoughts on like, is the season a little bit too long? What are we trying to prioritize? Like, how do we get it to a level to where we don't have this many key injuries in this part of the year and have a really good representative, you know, international representative? And, you know, even when I was talking about like, there's still a lot of kangaroos out, like, you know, you guys are the Kiwis, you guys, bro, it sucks to see. It sucks to see. But anyway, we move on to the Kiwi squad here. First up, we got Aaron Clark from the Gold Coast Titans, now a New Zealand Warrior. Shout out to Aaron Clark. Really excited to see what his opportunity is with this Kiwi squad. Phoenix Crosslin with the Newcastle Knights. For me, probably going to be a hooker rotation type of player, but he could cover the halves and that as well. So I'm really excited to see Phoenix Crosslin on the big stage. He's debutanting. He's a debutant now. So big moment for him in the Kiwis. James Fisher-Harris from the Penrith Panthers, now a New Zealand Warrior. Peter Hiku, crazy one there. Peter Hiku was the biggest left field shout I could see. And like, probably for a good thought, like, because there is a bit of hooker, bit of center discussion really with the side and whether he's going to cover. I think he's more so a cover piece, but you know, whether if any of those boys go down with injury, he's probably going to cover that center position or cover a 7 or cover a fullback. Like, he's a good cover for that and good experience. Jerome Hughes, Jermaine Osako, Keanu Kinney, shout out to debutant Keanu Kinney, Casey McLean, Penrith Panthers debutant right there. Griffin Neem from the Cowboys, Chance Nickel-Coste from the Warriors, Cody Nikolima from the Dolphins, Marata Niokore from the Warriors, Isaiah Papali'i from the Panthers, Jordan Ricky from the Broncos, a debutant there from Jordan Ricky. I didn't recognize that. Yeah, this is the first time that Jordan Ricky's representing the Kiwis in the Pacific Championship. Scott Sorensen for the Penrith Panthers, who was hampered a little bit with his hamstring injury, played the grand final, but there was moments where I noticed that his running gait wasn't full 100%, so I have to wait and see how he turns out in the camp. Joseph Tarpanet, Leo Thompson, Matt Tomoko, Trent Tolau, Will Walbrick, and Nafahu White. A really strong little list there. I feel fears with all the big names that are out, but still a lot of good little cover pieces there. So Jazz is going to go Grant Robson with the Australian hooker cover. Yep. All right. I see that. Hunter's too old to bet it. Yeah. All right. I agree actually. Yeah. Because we do need to be looking forward to the World Cup. Yeah, that's a good one. Damn, we don't even have a dummy half. Phoenix can do a job there, bro. I think Phoenix does a really good job in that hooker position. Need more international football, lesser rounds of full club footy. Yeah, yep. Tans was not expecting Hiku. Very surprised with that. I know exactly what you mean. It came out of left field. And Tans Sorensen was good in the GF. Yeah, I thought he was really good, but I just noticed that he is still carrying that hamstring. Obviously he had it like, you know, sleeved up. But if you actually saw his running gait, he was hampered a little bit in the grand final. I wish I had videos so I could show you what I was seeing, but hopefully he's okay. You know, played throughout the grand final and did an amazing job, but usually, you know, after it all, that's when you start hurting a little bit more. And when you go into camps, we'll have to see how he gets tested out, but I'm sure he'll be fine. But yeah, guys, any thoughts overall on that? Was it? I may have missed something, but where is Denny Levi? I don't know. Denny could be injured, could be, you know, getting surgery. Maybe Stacey just didn't look his way. I would have even thought that he would be up for grabs in a Samoa jersey, but good to see Paulie Roach. We'll come to that a little bit later on as well. But yeah, that's an interesting call. I do think that Phoenix Crosslin is going to be your number 9. And then Aaron Clark will probably be a cover piece there, but yeah. A big talking points, obviously, with this side. Keanu Kinney getting a spot there. I think that's massive. That's awesome for the Kiwis. Definitely someone to blood into this Kiwis camp. And probably you'll get to see, you know, with my predicted lineup that he will probably be up there for pushing CNK for that fullback jersey, if not taking that fullback jersey from CNK, because CNK could play at that center position just due to the lack of really good centers that the Kiwis have at the moment. Like, you know, Peter Hiku obviously playing for Hull, you know, an older type of player there. You know, Casey McLean would have been good to maybe have a center position, but I do think that like the Kiwis would probably have him around the squad first of all before chuck him in through the big stage. But maybe a good player to, as I keep saying, I keep thinking in my head, a good player to debutant against like Tonga, but we're going to go to it later. That Tongan squad is really strong, and I don't see an easy game for these boys to jump in on. So very interesting to see how Stacey Jones going to, you know, play around with the squad. And obviously, guys, yeah, with both these squads, the Australian jersey, the Australian squad is Mal Meninga, you know, coaching Mal Meninga, and then obviously New Zealand, it's going to be Stacey Jones. All right, we'll move on to my predicted list here for the Kiwis. So I've already done this list, guys. I did this before we jumped on, but this is my thoughts overall, and we're just going to go through one by one. So my fullback, I did go Keanu Kinney, only because of the lack of center depth that I do think that the Kiwis have this year. Would have been good to see them try to throw out, like, you know, obviously Casey McLean got a jersey in that, but yeah, a lot of the big names that they probably wanted in that jersey all out due to injury. And for some reason, I did want to talk about this a little bit more as well. I'm not sure what's going on with the Sharkies, but I'm just noticing a lot of Sharks players out of this lineup are out like injured, that like didn't look like they were carrying, even though, you know, I don't want to push that like narrative out there, because Rugby League Guru did come out and said that he saw with the New South Wales Cup Grand Final, it was the week of, obviously, when the Sharkies got knocked out of the finals as well, that he noticed that a lot of them were hampered with injury and stuff like that, and they were like hobbling around, stuff like that. But like, I'm just noticing that there is no real Sharkies representing other than Sione Katoa from off the top of my dome. So that's a really big one. There's a lot of Sharkies that could be represented here. Like obviously Britton Nakota could have represented the Kiwis. I'm sure Britton Nakota would have put his hand up if he was all good to go. But this is what I'm thinking about. Ronaldo Mulatalo is another one, obviously. Kale Ilo was a big one. Obviously, he could have pledged for Cook Islands as well, which he hasn't. So they're all big names that are all missing out of these lineups, but Keanu Kinney is going to be my fullback so we can push CNK to that center position. You guys know I don't prefer CNK in that center position. Played really well there in the last game of the Warriors, but again, this is only, I've got one game sample on that. But then again, you're only playing a couple of games for Pacific Championship. I do think that at the moment, like Peter Hiku now moving on to Super League, and you know he's killing it over there in Super League. Hull Kingston Rovers in finals and that. But I do think that if we're looking at like NRL quality, I think CNK can do a better job in that center position just right now. And then Matt Tomoko on my left side center, I think, you know, that's the way they're probably going to go. Matt Tomoko, preferred left side center, can play on the right side as well. So would have to see. Actually, I think he is a preferred right side. So those boys could switch either way, in my opinion. And same with our wingers here. We got Jermaine Osako, Will Warbrick. So good to see Will Warbrick get a Kiwis jersey here. I think he's been absolutely incredible. He was incredible in the grand final. I thought in general, he was running hard. He was making some really good meters out of the back end. So great to see there. Will Warbrick's predominantly a right side winger. I think Jermaine Osako can play both sides. I've seen him play on the left side for the Broncos. Then he goes swing to the right with the Gold Coast Titans. I think he's played a little bit of right with the Broncos as well. I think he can play both sides. I do think it takes away from, you know, one of Osako's best weapons is a big right foot step. That right foot step is going to take him outside more so inside. As a lot of Kiwis fans would know, and obviously Dolphins fans would know, he has a wicked right foot step. But I think it's really, you know, I think that's probably the best way they're going to run there. What we got here? Brody, good to see you come through, my bro. Appreciate ya. Holding it down, brother. I love the content. Just finished out of business now, holding out the storm. Yeah, bro. Oh, honestly, the storm is crazy at the moment. I hope it's not ruining what I'm talking about right now. And Brody giving it to the Kiwi fans in the chat. Aussie's third street squad taking it out still. That's what he reckons. Guys, get at him in the chat, hey? Get at him in the chat. All right, chuck it back over. What else we got? Jazz. Need one of the Aussie boys at our beloved Warriors to step up and play for the Kiwis. Wade Egan, maybe. I really wanted Joey Manu to play for us this year, and yeah, I feel Nick Order would have played for sure if he could. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I didn't want to push the narrative that all Sharkies players are just all pulling out. Obviously with the KP news and stuff like that, it's like pretty crazy. But yeah, it's just I think out of all the Sharks players that could have represented it, the only player that I've seen is Sione Katoa, which is crazy. But anyway, we continue. What's going on, Jose? Appreciate you coming through, bro. But yeah, that's the start of my predicted lineup here for the Kiwis. So obviously my back line is Keanu Kini, Warbrick, and Asako. Very similar. If you go check out on WhatsApp TV, Levon's already done his breakdowns too, guys. Make sure you go check that out on WhatsApp TV. A massive supporter of my channel. Obviously, I'll be on that channel next week as well. Me and Levon will start talking about our Pacific Championships and breaking down each and every squad and our thoughts overall and our strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. Jazz, I hope your car doesn't get struck by lightning, eh, Brody? Brody, if you're still in the chat, there we go. Yeah, I love it. Love it. All right, the halves pairing for the Kiwis. I can't go away from Jerome Hughes and Cody Nikorima. You could maybe look at, Jerome Hughes and CNK maybe. I wouldn't do so. But yeah, that's the only, or maybe Phoenix Crossland. But again, you're probably lacking a hooker cover there too. So this is a position that you guys are currently in. Then moving up to my front row pairing, we're going to go JFH and we're going to go Thompson. What's that? Brody, yo, Ash, give us who you're most sad not to see playing in each squad. Just one player. So obviously with the new news with the Australian jersey, bro, obviously Liam Martin pulling out with injury. He's probably my biggest one that I'm like, I would love to see, Liam Martin in that Australian jersey in the Pacific Championships. If you're not thinking of someone so recent, oh, that's tough. That's tough. We've already seen Payne and all that do it. I think Payne's definitely going to be a big miss for us, but we've still got some really good cover there. But yeah, Cleary. Cleary's a good one. Yeah, Brody. Yep. Cleary for you. Beautiful. Yeah, that's definitely a big one for me as well. It'd be so good to see just Cleary put on that Australian Sevens jersey, please. Just go out and do it. But hopefully he's recovering really well. For the Kiwis, my biggest miss probably would be, yeah, Joey Manu's a massive one. Moses Leota is a massive one. That's a big one for me overall. I think Moses Leota. Yeah, I'm gonna go Moses Leota. I think that the Kiwis are gonna miss him a little bit pairing up with Fisher Harris. But even then, no, actually, I'll scrap that. Jeremy Marshall King for sure. For sure. For the Tongan squad, let's see what we got here. Miss out. We'll get to the Tongan squad later, actually. We're going to go through our predicted New Zealand one. But yeah, we'll talk about the Tongan squad a little bit more later, all right? But that's my two for those two squads there. Yeah, JMK, bro. Yeah, agree, Brody. Agreed. And Jazz with Joey Manu or JMK. Yeah, Joey Manu's definitely a massive miss. And Big Nas with Jose. Yep, I can definitely see that. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming through, my man. Thank you so much. Guys, you'll see him next week. Obviously, Brody will be back on next week and we'll go through all these squads, our thoughts overall and our predictions. Obviously, me and Brody are going to the first game, Australia versus Tonga. I'm so excited to go to that. Tons. Bro, this is almost exactly what I picked, but I had Niokore ahead of Jordan Riki. See, I just think overall, I think Jordan Riki defensively is just a better player than Maratsi Niokore at the moment, especially with to see the form of Maratsi Niokore later on this year. And also looking at it as I think Jordan Riki is an out-and-out edge back rower. He probably can do a job in the middle, but out-and-out really. Where Maratsi Niokore, I can see him play in the middle and he's usually great off the bench, can cover it at center position, stuff like that. So that's why I had him on the bench. But that's why I went for him on the edge back rower position. The other side, Scotty Sorensen, I've already kind of elaborated. I did think that he was carrying a little bit of that that hamstring injury in that grand final and still played cracker. But we'll have to see like how that plays out because I just noticed that his gait, like he wasn't opening up on his runs at all. So I'm not too sure there. Joseph Tarpane is going to be my 13. I was playing around with the fact of maybe Joseph Tarpane playing up front with Fisher Harris and having Thompson off the bench. That would mean one of those boys of Maratini Kore, Isaiah Papali'i or Griffin Neem would drop off my bench and pushing in Nafahu White because I've really enjoyed Nafahu White and has played that 13 jersey for the Roosters as well. Very similar to what, Tarpane can bring. Maybe, it's really up to Nafahu White versus Leo Thompson. And at the moment, that's why I put Leo Thompson in that front row jersey, I believe. And Crossland's going to be my number 9. I think that out of all the names that you have there, Crossland's got to be a number 9 for the Kiwi squad. My bench is going to be Aaron Clark, Griffin Neem, Mratane Kore, and Isaiah Papali'i. I think that's probably the way I got to go. Jose, big game for Barata, could elevate his game for us next year, 100%. And like, you know, it'd be interesting to see where Stacey does pick him, because it could actually give us some thoughts of where he could play for the Warriors next year. I'm not too sure. And you're not familiar with Phoenix Crossland, bro. Really talented, you know, hard-working player that plays for the Knights. Can play in that 7 jersey, and he played out the rest of this year in that half role. But, you know, he has played a lot of that hooker rotation with Jaden Brayley, and is a little, like, he's got some spark in that hooker role. Like, you know, he's a good runner of the football, but playing in the halfback jersey, he probably understands where to, you know, give the ball to that half, get him on over the advantage line. So I'm really keen to see him in that number 9 jersey. And you may, like, I think JMK is definitely a big loss, but it may, Phoenix Crossland can step up and can really, you know, fill that void of, you know, no JMK, no cheese. Jazz, I love Navahu White. Yeah, same. Pretty sure I've seen him play for the Junior Kiwis one time and looked at goods. He had a good side step on him and everything. I just love his aggression. I love the way he takes it to the game. He's just one of those guys that just like look like you just don't want to mess with on that football field. It's just tough because I can't leave out Griffin Neem. He's like, you know, you guys would know he's one of my favorite up and coming players at the moment. Mratane Kore has got to be there for me because he can cover multiple different positions. Isaiah Papali'i's got to be there as well for me with that sort of look as well, can cover different positions, but also has been a representative player for the Kiwis before as well. So that's my thoughts on it. But yeah, Nafahu's a close one to fit in there. If I was to drop anyone there, probably would, I don't know. I really don't know. I like Nafahu White. But that's my predicted lineup there, guys. Let us know in the chat your thoughts overall. Who would you change? Who would you put into certain positions? This and that. Be good to see. Yeah, 100% Tans. I think he's been really, really good, Nafahu. And like the growth in his game being the Roosters, maybe playing that 13 jersey as well. He can open up, you know, he's got somewhat left to right passing, but I like him going more up and down. You know, just really good defensively, ties in well, works really, really hard for the Roosters. So be good to see him obviously on the big stage again, because he has played for the Kiwis before. I'm pretty sure he played last year in the, no, he didn't. It's actually his debutant. I'm sure he played for the Kiwis before. But anyway, really, really talented player. All right, guys, moving over to the Tongan squad. A very, very tough squad on paper. As I keep saying, I'm looking for games for maybe we can see Braden Best even be in the third. Like, if it's not Braden Best, like Hammer plays center, or like, you know, we can switch around and get some young blokes playing, like Lindsay Smith, where you're going to put him into the jersey to play, and for the Kiwi squad, you know, players like Casey McLean, stuff like that. You want a debutant. But this Tonga squad's not an easy game. So I really I'm very excited and very curious to see how this plays out. And I do believe, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, who is the strongest squad out of these three, and maybe even closer than a lot of people would think. So going to be good. What's going on, Rugby League history? Appreciate you coming through, bro. Thank you so much. Was it Jose? Who's overall has the scariest team on paper? I would say that, like, just on paper, I think that if you mean scary as in the fact of, I think just that Tongan forward pack looks like mental, like, but if you're going scary as in going to be overall results, I would say the Australian squad is definitely like a bit of a step above. And I feel like that does also come down to the Kiwis missing a ton of, you know, top talent as well. Even though we are missing top talent, I do think the Kiwis, you know, with the depth of what the Kiwis can actually build from, I think that's hurt them a little bit there. But if you go on, like, you know, to surprise teams overall, I think that Tongan side is fucking strong, bro. And we may even talk about the Fijian side. I've just seen that's come out, and that's a fairly strong squad for, you know, a Fijian side that in a couple of years past definitely had a lot of players, you know, pull out on them. I think they're going to be fairly good against PNG and stuff. But I'll probably say, you know, scariness wise, I think Tonga. If you're going to say who's going to probably like look like taking it out, I'll probably say Australia. Fortunately for me being an Australian fan, but for my Kiwi fans in the chat, unfortunately for you guys. And I feel for you guys a little bit because I would love to see a 100% squad out there. Jazz Tonga, bro. Mad respect for the Tongas. Aussies technical. Tonga's brutally fierce. Yeah, and we'll talk about that forward pack too. And it's just, bro, honestly, if they just run straight and like if the halves can play off the back of that platform, they're going to be looking nice. And rugby league history coming in. Come on, you England. We will touch on a little bit of Samoa versus England. I haven't seen the England squad get named just yet, but you know I think that comes a little bit later on. But it's going to be a strong squad again. You know, Mikey Lewis and stuff like that picking up. He picked up Man of Steel, didn't he? Rugby league history. Make sure I'm correct on that one. But he had a really great season. There's a lot of really talented, you know, English boys there. So I'm really excited to see that test there. England versus Samoa. Willis T, the Tongan pack looked nasty. The Tongan spine, on the other hand, is looking a bit dodgy. I love Isaiah Katoa. We will get to that. But yeah, I would say the rest of it kind of is yet to be seen. But yeah. Let's go, Tonga. See you, GT. Appreciate you coming through, bro. All right, let's go for the Tonga squad, top to bottom. Paul Alamotti getting a debutant spot there from the Penrith Panthers. I cannot wait. Really excited to see Paul Alamonte on the big stage. I thought he was one of the best performers in the grand final for the Penrith Panthers. You know, you guys know my thought with the Melbourne Storm versus Penrith Panthers when it was coming into it. I thought that this was maybe the first time we're going to see, like, you know, the Panthers take a little back foot step, losing someone like Stephen Crichton. I think in years past, you know, we never, like, you know, we saw Matt Burton and that go to the Doggies and do what they did. And we're kind of like, oh, yeah. And then Stephen Crichton went away and we knew the moments of Stephen Crichton. Would the Panthers lose that? Paul Alamonte filled in that spot really nicely. He is not Stephen Crichton 100%, but I feel like that the Panthers just continue to do what they did. And like, full credit to him because I thought he was a big standout for me. I thought his work rate was incredible. I thought defensively he was incredible. Even moving to that winging position with Brian To'o, his combination with Isaac Tungo was really solid on that side. And obviously, you know, there was a couple of moments where Melbourne tried to, you know, later on in the game get over the top of them, and those boys held in together. So really high praise for him being a debutant here in the Tonga squad. Finette Fuyaki also with the Dolphins, you know, ex-Cowboy with the Dolphins. Excited to see him get a spot there. Obviously was in the Tongan A squads last year. So get excited for see Finette Fuyaki before we get to see him over in a Dolphins jersey next year. I think Christian Wolf is going to be really good for him. Obviously the coach of the Tongan squad. I'm really excited to see what he can do there. Adam Fanor-Blake with the Cronulla Sharks, obviously your captain there. Adam Fanor-Blake. Havili there with the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Lehigh Hopoate getting a debutant jersey there from the Manly Seagulls. So excited to see Lehigh, see what we trying to, like, what kind of position the Tongan squad's going to put him in, whether he does start as a fullback, whether he doesn't find the field, what really happens there, whether he finds a winger spot, who knows. Isaiah Iongi, really excited to see him, obviously a debutant, now with the Parramatta Eels, was the Penrith Panthers New South Wales Cup fullback, played a couple of games in first grade, a solid talent there. Sione Katoa, Alessia Katoa, Felice Gafusi, Kion Kalo-Matangi, Gola, Tuim Lola here. Really excited to see Lola here again. I know a lot of Tonga's fans are all like, Lola here, get out. But like, just as a Warriors fan, I just love seeing Tui. But yeah, I do believe that it's nearly coming time for maybe them to push tides. I would love to see Latu Fainu, but I'm pretty sure he's out with injury. There's a couple other guys, you know, Turupa, I think he might be out with injury. So that's probably the reason why they got Lola here there, plus experience, I guess. Sonny Luke, Olakawatu, Paseka, Suli, Tamalolo, Daniel Tupou, Satili Tupanua, and Sua Wong. Rugby League history, yeah, he won the Man of Steel. For people who don't know, it's the Daily M for the Super League. Yeah, exactly. He's incredible. He was incredible. Bro, Lola here is only 29. Bro, I didn't even know that. It feels like he's been out for ages, but I just know a lot of Tongan fans are against having Tui Lola here at that number 6 again. I'm pretty sure it just came off the back of how they performed over in England and I guess a couple other, you know, games and stuff that he's had with Tonga. But he's still a live one. I think that the big name that they're going to be, you know, circling for this, you know, obviously overall is Isaiah Katoa. They haven't put Isaiah Katoa's name in here, which is weird. But yeah, Isaiah Katoa is playing Pacific Championship. And the number 7, I cannot wait to see Isaiah Katoa get out there. Obviously, another year of development. I think he's probably the best thing for that Tonga squad. It's always been the mantra of the Pacific Island squads is having some good halves is probably the best part of, like, you know, you got obviously amazing forwards, amazing backline. You just need a really good half to unlock everything. Isaiah Katoa has shown that he can be that guy. So I'm really so excited for that. Murdoch Masilla, Carl for Tonga once or twice. Yeah, the old days. Good old Big Ben. Hopefully Big Ben's doing well. All right, let's move on to this, guys. Let's go through our lineup one for one. So my fullback for the Tongan squad, this is my prediction for what Christian Wolf's going to do. I don't know. Like, for me, in my opinion, I've really enjoyed Lehigh Hopoate at that fullback jersey. And even looking at Manly, I think they preferably have Lehigh Hopoate in fullback and then having Golo in that center position. But with the names that they got on paper at the moment, I'm going to play around a little bit. We're going to go Golo at fullback because I think that opens up so many other positions for different players that probably have a little bit more experience as well, definitely on the big stage. We're going to go Daniel Tupou, of course. Big old Daniel Toops. Good to see him there. How crazy would this Tongan squad been with like a Dallin Watene-Zelezniak and that? Like, it would be crazy because I'm pretty sure Dallin was supposed to pledge for Tonga last year Pacific Championship, but end up coming out with injury and obviously probably dealing with injury again this year. Is why he's not in the Kiwi squad or the Tongan squad. But yeah, that's probably the way I would probably look at it. The opposite side, look at the other names here in that winger position. We got Lehigh Hopoate. I feel like I'm missing someone here. I really feel like I'm missing someone here. We'll probably have to go Lehigh Hopoate. I'm pretty sure. We're going to go Lehigh. Then in the centers, I'm going to have on my left side, Moses Sully. I cannot wait to see Moses Sully on the big stage again, especially after the year he's had with the Dragons. I think he's been incredible. Jose, quick question, Ash. Sorry, did you watch Samuel Healy? Yes, I did. I think he looks really nice. What I've enjoyed out of him the last couple of weeks that I've kind of really nailed down and watched him, because before he signed with the Warriors, I never kind of like sat down and really watched his game, like, because he was behind Jalen Beryl that I really rate for the Sharkies. I'm pretty sure Beryl got the number 9 New South Wales Cup number 9 of the year there too. But I really liked his contact and defense. I think that's a big difference to what obviously we're dealing with right now with Wade Egan and his technique, stuff like that. I don't think we'll have similar problems with Healy. I think he's really good, solid contact and defense, hits under the ball really well. It can actually go high as well, wraps up really nicely. I like his spark. And I also like that he could play. I really do like he could play in that lock position if he needs to as well. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a little bit before he's probably see him in first grade. Like, as in the fact of, I do think that they'll probably run him in New South Wales Cup for a couple of games. But if he's up for it, I could see him nicking that 14 jersey. I really could. I liked his spark. I liked his speed out dummy half. I didn't know he was so big. Obviously, looking into him a little bit more, I think he's a 6'1" hooker, which is like, it's not a usual size for a hooker. But I really enjoyed his game. But again, yeah, the biggest thing I kind of noted down with him was defensively, he got himself in the right places and he hit really well. His technique was really, really solid. And also, if you notice, in a lot of the tries that Norths ran in over, the weekend with the State Cup and that, he was in that second line of defense cover majority of the time. So he's a high work rate sort of player as well. So really, really excited to see him in a Warriors jersey next year, whether it's in Cup or whether he gets first grade, I'm not too sure. But I do think it'll take a little bit before he gets there. But I thought he was really good, bro. I thought he was really good. We'll definitely talk about more of him in the future too. Moses Sully is dangerous, but it feels like I've been waiting for wanting him to get better at fitness forever. Yeah. I think that this year he's kind of proven that he has gotten to that level. Like, I really think that this year for the Dragons, he stepped up. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for him. Actually, there we go. Now I know what I've done. I'm sorry, Hopoate. I got to go Katoa. I was just talking about Sione Katoa too before, being one of the only, Sharkies representatives in international football this year. So I really do think Tupou and Sione Katoa is probably the two most experienced wingers. They're probably going to be the best ones to have them come out of the back end. But I do think that maybe they'll have a change with Lehigh Powate. I'm not too sure what they're going to do there, but that's probably the best backline there. What's your thoughts, Jose? Give us your thoughts on Samuel Healy too, bro. I'll definitely read it in the chat too. Jazz, what do you got? Maybe I should hit Ash up with this cue. What question you got for me, my brother? We got time while I work through my predicted lineup here. All right, so we're going to go Moses Suli and... top 4 scariest Tongan players ever. I'll give you one of my favorite players of all time, and Tongan players of all time. I love Mahe Whenua. I used to rate Mahe like so highly. Whenua, he used to play for Melbourne and that. I was like, yeah. So if I'm gonna have it, all right, we're gonna go Manu Ma'u. I think he has to be number 1, just the look of it. Oh, actually, Adam Fanua-Blake, Mahu Ma'u. Oh, there's so many names, bro, because it's all coming to think. But Mahu Ma'u's got to be up there. Adam Fanua-Blake's got to be up there. Mahe Whenua's got to be up there. And then you got like Fui Fui. Fui Fui's got to be up there. I think that's, I'll leave that as my 4. There's a lot of names I'm definitely missing. They're all coming to my head now. But like, bro, like my love for Mahe Whenua, Sika Manu as well. Like Sika Manu used to be dope. I'm pretty sure he was a Tongan boy. Not Tongan ball, but I'm pretty sure he's Tongan heritage as well. That was a scary man too in rugby league. But those are the names I'm thinking. Obviously, George Tafua, as in the way he played football, I think he was definitely scary. Oh, bro, you could name that many names, but we're going to go with that, right? We're going to go number 1, Adam Fanua-Blake, because he's intimidation factor, not just on the football field, attacking wise and that, but he's like figure. I think he's number 1. Manu Ma'u, again, very similar. Oh, bro, Manu Vadave. Oh, that's a good shout, Jazz. Oh, yeah, Sika Manu as well. Yep. Yeah, Adam Fanua-Blake's got to be in that list. I think that Adam's got to be up there for one of the most intimidating looking figures in ever, like in rugby league. He's got to be up there. But yeah, Manu Ma'u just looked like he was just gangster. Like he's just, oh, bruh. That was a good question, Jazz. But yeah, Adam Fanua-Blake, Manu Ma'u, Sika Manu, and Mahe Whenua. That's mine. Yeah, I love that. Love that. Jose, I thought Samuel Healy had a good work rate, big body, defensively sound. Main error, I think, but it was a tough call from memory. He was okay. I want to see more. Yeah, I saw a lot more out of him in the actual grand final New South Wales Cup. I thought he was really, really solid. But yeah, again, like New South, he's got to come over to us and see what he develops under with our program. And I think like the biggest positive with the Warriors the last couple of years, that every player that we've had come over usually grows, in development. So that's what I'm excited for, to see what he can develop as. But anyway, back to this. All right, so we got Gola at fullback. We got Tupou on the left side. We got Katoa on the right side. Moses Suli on the left side center. Our right side center, I'm going to go Alamonte, just because of the way he performed in that Alamonte in the grand final. I got to have him in that position there. Looking at other names I could have had there. Yeah, I'll definitely go with that. I'd definitely go with that. Our halves pairing, it's going to have to be Lola here. Shout out Lola here. You could throw up Isaiah Ongi in that 6 jersey from the names we got here, but I got to go, Lola here. Number 7, I got to go Isaiah Katoa. For sure. For sure. Adam Fanua-Blake in that number 8 jersey. Goes without question. My little one, I totally agree with Levon with this. I was thinking about, I'm not sure if he ended up having it in his combined 13, but I think they're going to go Jason Taumalolo. And then number 9, I personally would have Sonny Luke as my number 9 out of the names that get given. Havili, I never really rated Havili as a number 9. Never. I think his ball, his pass out of dummy half is slow. He's got like a rigid technique. I've always thought he's a really good defender. He has the ability to pass off the ground 100% for sure. But if we're looking at a hooker and a guy to get like front rowers on the ball, I think that Sonny Luke will do that better than Havili. I think Havili is a really good player to have off the bench that can cover the middle, cover hooker if anything goes wrong. But to be a first choice hooker, I don't rate Havili that highly in that position there. So I would go Sonny Luke. But comment down below if your thought that was any different there. That 13 jersey, I think they will end up going. Here we go. I don't know why I feel like these names it's gone. Oh yeah, Jose, he is hearty as. Even when I saw the England test last year for Tonga, I thought that he was a big deficit to you guys. I thought that a lot of the balls that he gets out of dummy half will either go behind. He doesn't get your half back onto the front, onto the ball front. I see a lot of rigid movements there with Havili. I think he's a really strong defender. And obviously I think he's just a better ball runner too. So I'd love him off the bench just to spark up that middle. And when you got someone like Sonny Luke, who has been down on form, obviously, coming back to Cup and all that sort of stuff, but I think that he's definitely got ability. He can get out of dummy half, he can scoot well, but I think he's just ball playing ability out of dummy half is just a ton better for me. That's the reason why I'd go there. I had this thought in my head already who I had in that 13 jersey, but now it's completely slipped. Galore Matangi. I got to go Galore Matangi. That is who I was thinking in that 13 jersey. On my right side edge back rower, I would probably say Ola Kawatu, because I think Eli Katoa, I really do think Eli could play on the opposite side. Because we see him at the Warriors being able to do that. I know if the Melbourne Storm obviously sat down that right side, he's preferably on that right side at the moment. But Ola Kawatu, I don't think Ola Kawatu, just because they're both so new to Ola Kawatu played rugby league, but obviously got scouted due to, coming to a training session. We know that Eli Katoa, he's very fresh into rugby league still, which is so crazy to how he's performing. I don't know him switching on both sides, but we had done that with the Warriors before, so I think he's more preferred to do that than Ola Kawatu. That's the reason why I'm picking that, guys. Maybe I'm thinking well too deep into that, but I do think that you got to have both those boys on the field, just because of the way they performed this year. So we're going to go Katoa. All right, first cab off the bench. We're going to go with... who did I say before? We're going to go Havili. And then we're going to go... It's going to be tough. I got to go Paseka. It's good to see Paseka there. Obviously, that 4-pack's deadly, man. It is deadly. I love Fine Fuyaki. I'm trying to find him a spot here, but I do feel like that with this bench, I think Satili Tupanua's got to find around a spot. If Felice Gafusi's got to find a spot, so I'm going to go Gafusi just for experience. And has played a lot of middle this year, so I could see him playing off a middle rotation with Paseka, and also can play on the edge. And I think Satili Tupanua is going to be the opposite bench player there, or the other bench player. I think that's going to be the bench. I really do think that. All right, so my predicted team list here, I'm going to go Golo at fullback. We're going to go Tupou and Sione Katoa on that right side. We're going to go Moses Suli on the left side. We're going to go Alamonte on the right side center. We're going to go Tui Loliha and Isaiah Katoa as my halves pairing. We're going to go Sonny Luke in that number 9. Our front rowers are Tamalolo and Adam Fanor Blake. Galore Matangi in that lock position. My right side edge back row will be Ola Kawatu. My left side edge back row will be Eli Katoa. That one makes me struggle because I know preferably Ola Kawatu and Eli Katoa can play on that right side. That may free up an option for Fene Fuyaki, who is a predominant left side edge back row when he's come on for the Cowboys. So that could throw up a different look there too. I do feel sorry for missing out on Lehigh Opoate on the bench, but my bench is Havili, Beseka, Galfusi, and Tupanua. I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to go. It's a big pack. It's an amazing pack. And like names to miss out, I think Wong is a crazy big miss. Like I think that Wong would be heavily featured in, like I think Wong could push for, I think that Kiwi squad is actually, I don't know if he'll fit in that Kiwi squad because if we're missing Nafahu White, yeah, this and that, but he's still a strong name to have on that list there too. Who else if I was missing? Isaiah Ayongi, Lehigh Opoate. Yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go. I really do. Let us know what your thoughts are there, guys. Any Tongan boys in the chat? Let us know overall on that predicted list there. I think it's pretty, that's a solid squad. We'll go back and forth. That Tongan squad versus this Kiwi squad. We'll start off with the we'll start off at fullback. I think that we will leave the Australian squad out of it first because I'm pretty sure Jazz, like, you know, had the question of this. Fullback, I've got to go Keanu Kinney over Gola. Just as a preferred fullback, as a fullback, I would go Keanu Kinney as a fullback. My wingers, I would probably say Asako would go over Sione Katoa. And I'd say Daniel Tupou over Walbrook. So I'll go 1 for 1 there. So I think the Kiwis are up by 1. The centers, I would sway it to Tonga. I think Moses Suli is the best preferred center out of the lot there. Then I'll have Tomoko as the other center. And then Alamonte, then CNK. The halves where the Kiwis have me though, I love Isaiah Katoa. I'd go for 1 for 1. I'll go Isaiah Katoa and Jerome Hughes. And then Cody Nikarima would be just under that. And Tuiloli here would be my last pick there. And then forward pack wise, man, these packs, man. These packs. All right, we'll look at it. Galore Matangi versus Tapane. I'd go Tapane, but I thought Galore Matangi had a great year in that 13 jersey. Edge back rollers, I would actually sway it to Tonga. I think Tonga had the better edge back rollers here. You know, Sorensen, obviously grand final level, got to that. I think he's really sturdy in that, but I think Eli Katoa, you know, I'll take Eli and Ola Kawatu. If you're going to go side prefer, like, you know, I think Tonga have better edge back rollers. Up front, AFB and Tamalolo versus Thompson and Fisher Harris is a tough one. I think that as a combination, you probably see that Fisher Harris and Thompson will probably be better. But if you're going on namesake, I think AFB Tamalolo probably does that. But I just think that what Fisher Harris does on a football field, his leadership will probably lift this Kiwi squad here. And Leo Thompson's no scrub either. Like, incredible. And like looking at the future with Leo Thompson there. And then number 9, I'd go Crossland over Luke. So I'd probably say that the New Zealand squad just edges it over Tonga. And I think that, like, as in like how a football team will play out in that football field, I do still think that this New Zealand side would play a lot less clunky comparatively to that Tonga side. I do think that the key members of Tonga, they're going to let him down. Sonny Luke, you know, this spine, Luke, Lolahia, and Gola, I think Qatar should be good enough to get him around the park, but those boys coming together is probably the one issue I do find, where I probably would prefer like Crossland, giving it to Nikarima and Keeney. I think those guys would be a lot more flowy. Like, I think their set plays would go off a lot better. But how strong is that Tonga squad, guys? How strong is that Tonga squad? That is unreal. I honestly think they're going to give us havoc. I think that they're going to give the Australian squad and the Kiwi squad havoc. I still believe that out of all of them, I think the Australian squad is definitely the better squad. I think technically we're the better squad. Just looking at like the way our spine is going to be conducted, obviously the best 9 in the competition. Mitchell Moses, what he did in Origin, I think he's still one of the better halfbacks in competition, but you got Jerome Hughes at your Daily M, so I'll give you your halfback. Tommy Dearden, I think, is a better 6 than Cody Nikorima, so that's a 1-up for us there. Dylan Edwards, I think, is a better fullback than Keanu Kenny, but Keanu Kenny is still a stud. Then Isaiah Yeo, you're tapping it. That's going to be a good little battle. I just think the way, technically, the way the Aussie boys are going to play is probably going to be an uptick over the Kiwi squad. But I think this Tonga squad is going to cause a lot of havoc if they just play direct football. They play tight. They play fast. I think they're going to be strong. You think you're on par, Jazz, with Tonga? I still believe that, like, on paper, they look unreal. I just want to see it with Tonga first, put it together. I think that's the biggest thing with Tonga. We've looked at a Tongan squad and said they've looked unreal. We've seen Isaiah Katoa be out there. I think that he'll do better directing the squad around. But, like, I still believe that service from number 9 to get to your spine is probably where you're going to, like, find issues with Tonga and just how clunky it may look. Like, Tui Lolihia, for all I love Tui for, I think Tui does love to look up and run first in moments where he doesn't need to. Like, he loves off that left foot, right foot. He'll go and maybe, like, that left side, if predominantly if he's going to be on that left side. No, Isaiah Katoa will probably sit on that left side, so Tui is going to go on that right. Even then, I just think that it's going to get clunky down that side. I think the preferred sides, they're going to go is the left side with Isaiah Katoa. I think that's probably the best side it's going to look. But that's where I look at it. Where if I look for the Kiwis, I think Cody Nikorima holds his weight on both sides. I think both set plays are going to look better on both sides. I think that there's not going to be that clunkiness that I just feel like is going to happen with Tonga. It's kind of hard for me to explain. But when you're running set pieces, I think that if you're going to go from, let's say they're going to go open side shift, you're probably get dummy half's going to go Sonny Luke. You're going to get to Isaiah Katoa. He's going to, straighten up the line, play it out the back to Tui Lolihia. And then it's up to Tui Lolihia what he's going to do in that position. And I feel like Tui gets himself caught in two minds. He's going to stutter step a little bit and he's going to slow down that set play. Where I honestly do believe, if you look at that open side shift, Crossland's going to give it straight to Jerome Hughes. He's going to put it straight out the back to Nikorima. Nikorima's going to really take down that space and put it out the back. We've seen the best out of Nikorima do that similar thing. Keanu Kenny's just got speed on the edge. He's going to burn. And Asako finishing in the corner. I just see that being a lot more an easier transition than that Tongan spine hit an open side shift. That's just me. But I think that Tonga is going to give it a red hot crack though. I really do. Yeah. I think Britton Nikora is going to be a big loss for the Kiwi squad as well. But even then, I think like it's starting to become, I think Jordan Ricci is actually going to start becoming an underrated type player for me. Like I really do think he's still a really good edge back rower. He'll do a job. He's not going to do a Britton Nikora job, but I think defensively he's going to be really strong for you guys. And even Scotty Sorensen, I think he's going to be fairly strong. So I think he's going to be okay. And plus we desperately need another quality kicker in the side in case Asako goes down or whatever. Yeah, looking at that side, Cody Nikorima would be a next kicking option. Yeah, I would probably agree with you there. But even like looking at that Tongan side, if Isaiah Katoa goes down, like who's your kicking option for Tonga? I can't see a name. I really can't see a name. So you could say that's very similar thing to the Tongan squad. Now, if I look at the Australian squad, Mitchell Moses would be our kicker if he goes down. Zach Lomax would be there too. Maybe even Zach Lomax would be our preferred too, like Origin. I think it's out of those two. I'd go Lomax first and then Moses. So yeah, I think that's where Australia probably has the advantage, and that's where I would probably say the technical side of things is where Australia's going to beat these sides. But that's where I'm looking at it. Yeah, you probably would say maybe Tui Lolihia with goal kicking. And Sonny Luke, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Sonny Luke goal kick in my opinion. It probably has in New South Wales Cup. I just never noticed it properly. Tui has goal kicked before. I'd still say they just lack that in general. Like we still don't know, like Isaiah Katoa's got a good boot on him, like goal kicking boot on him. But in first grade, the Dolphins use, Asako. So be interesting. I still say Australia will be number 1, Kiwis number 2, Tonga will be 3rd. But when I say Tonga third, that's not discrediting. Like, I think they're going to really give it a red hot crack, and I don't think they're going to give up. Like, I think that it's going to be a lot closer than probably what Samoa did last year. And the reason why I'd say that is because Samoa last year with that Pacific Championship squad, if you saw my TikToks and all that, I really wanted Ronald Volkman in a halves jersey. There's a lot of different things that I just thought they looked really, really clunky with, even though they had that individual ability with a couple of players there. They were missing Jerome Luai. I just think this Tongan squad's a lot better than probably what that Samoa squad was at that point. And I think these guys are going to give it a red hot crack. But I still would say Australia would come out on top because technically I just see everything working better. Then secondly, Kiwis, just because you lost all that talent due to injury and stuff like that. And then I'll say Tonga. But it's very, very, very close. And I want you guys to preface that. This is not me taking away anything for Tonga. I think that team on paper is incredible. I just think it's still yet to be seen if this Tonga squad gets directed well and they'll get into that good field position. And the other thing is, a lot of these boys are really big boys and not high, long minute motor type of, forwards there too. So I do think that the rotation of Paseka, Kafusi, and Tupanua with our big boys here of Adam Fanor, Blake, and Tamalolo. We know Ads can do a good 67-minute stint, but Tamalolo these days will probably be good for a good 30 to 40 stint. Kafusi's probably good for a 20. Paseka's good for a couple, like a 20. I do think that defensively, they'll probably get found out from the middle. You'll see a lot more of that, especially in new age of football. I do think that the smaller prop forwards do work a lot better defensively. I think you'll see a lot of gaps in behind the defense of the Tonga squad. But when they have the ball in hand, that's where Tonga is going to be really scary. And that's the big thing. I think that's the difference between Australia and New Zealand at the moment and Tonga. But Tonga is slowly just etching up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Tonga maybe surprising one of these sides. I really wouldn't. Tonga is going to use the age-old strategy of pass it to the big guy, and that's the thing. Is like, I hope they don't just look at that. I think Isaiah Katoa has a lot more ability than just directing it through like that. But that's what the whole thing is. Like, I think that technically it's going to run for Isaiah Katoa. Other than that, it's not really going to happen. Like, where, Australia and New Zealand probably got a little bit more ability in other places. And I think that, and it's not anything on Isaiah Katoa. I just think that like Lolihia, Gola, just yet to be seen for me, and Sonny Luke. When I look at the other sides, I can see Phoenix Crossland have a great game with Jerome Hughes, with Cody Nikorima. I think people underestimate how good Cody Nikorima can be. Defensively, he can be found out in moments, but I think in attack, he'll be fairly good for him, and he strings together set pieces fairly well. And then looking at the Australian squad, Tommy Dearden and that playing off the back of that, where the majority of the game plan for the Tongan side is going to be predicated on Isaiah Katoa and how he goes out there. So that's my biggest thing. But that's a good point too from you, Jazz. Yeah, Kiwis have a total legend of a player as a coach, but he hasn't earned his stripes as a coach yet. And I'm a little worried he's, that's the biggest thing, because we've seen Stacey Jones with the Warriors and how that all played out at the end of the season when he had to take over that coaching role for that little period. It's still yet to be seen if Stacey's a good coach, because we all know like a good player doesn't make you a good coach. There's different things at play, but hopefully Stacey goes well. All right, guys, I might stay on for another 30 minutes. Let's run through a couple of other squads that we can talk about. I'll do another predictor squad. This one is going to be with the Samoan squad. So obviously Samoa is going to be taking on England in the test this year. Really, really excited to see how that goes. So let's go through the squad top to bottom. Anthony Milford, Blaze Talangi, Dean Mariner, Francis Molo, Gordon Chancum-Tong, Isaac Dongle, Jake Dongle, Jerome Luai, Jazzy Tawanga, Jarrell Skelton, Jeremiah Nenoi, John Asiata, Josiah Pahulu, Junior Panga, Keenan Balasia, Lazarus Vaalepu, Luciano Leilua, Paul Roach, Ricky Latele, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Sean Bloor, Simi Sasangi, and Terrell May. Very, very strong squad, missing a lot of big pieces as well. No Critter, no Brian Toto, no Spencer Lenu, no Junior Bolo. A lot of big names missing out of that lineup. No Royce Hunts. As I said, there's not many Sharkies here. There's a lot of Sharkies that are missing out of these lineups. Even Hamu Nuele, I would have thought he would have had somewhat of a bite here, but let's go through our predicted lineup for the Samoa squad. before we jump into the Fijian squad and that, and we'll talk more about that. All right. Switch it over. So with the team list that's on paper, this is the way I'm going to see things. You know, if there were like, let's say if Sua Fa'alongo was playing, I thought that would be good to see, like switching around different positions here. But because of the amount of fullback depth that I'm seeing in this position, I'm going to go RTS at fullback. Like, it's not saying that I don't think RTS, obviously we know RTS is a great fullback, but I think if Sua Fa'alongo was in that fullback position and they had a couple other pieces, I do think that we'd probably see Roger Tuivasa-Sheck either on the wing or center position. I think that would be the most preferred way. But with all those guys out of the lineup, I think Roger at fullback is going to do the best work for the Toa Samoa squad. So I'm really excited for that. Alamonte kicked for the Panthers a couple of games. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. He could probably do a job. Yeah, I actually remember that. Yeah. I didn't know he had that on him. Respectfully, I feel it's a decent squad without being awesome. Similar to how I feel with the Kiwis in a way. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel, Jazz. I really feel like that, you know, players like Critter, Toto, like big name players that fell out of the squad really hurt. Like really hurt. Because this squad could have looked fucking amazing on paper. And it's exactly with that Kiwi squad. Exactly with that Kiwi squad. All right, so RTS at fullback. On my left wing position, we are probably going to go. It's obviously, for me, it's going to be out of Mariner, Skelton, or Junior Paunga. I'm going to go Junior because I got an idea here. Or it could even be Jake Tungle. I think Paunga's got that. It's either Paunga wants to play in that center position or that wing position. The opposite side, I would probably go Skelton. Skelton or Mariner. Because this is where it gets a bit, you know, I think that Tonga will be there. And I think that Mariner, you know, playing center for the last bit for the Broncos, I think that he'll pick up the center position. Skelton can play center as well, and so can Junior Paunga. So that's what I mean. They got some really good rotation there to where I don't know how that backline is going to sit. The best backline for the Toa Samoa squad, I would go Fa'alongo at fullback, Toto on my left side. On my right side, I would go Murray Taulagi if he was to pledge his allegiance to Samoa. Then I would probably pair up Stephen Crichton with Brian Toto, and I'll probably look at RTS next to Murray Taulagi. And I think that's the best backline. But with the names that I got given on paper, I think that's probably the best backline. I think Jake Tungle probably maybe could sneak in there. But I still have Skelton over Jake Tungle, and I'd still have Junior Paunga over Jake Tungle. But I think that's a little bit closer than maybe Skelton because I like Skelton. All right. My halves pairing. Number 6 jersey. I'm going to go Taulagi. And I so hope this Samoa squad does this. And Jerome Luai. I think Luai is a given for that 7 jersey. Especially, you know, him going to the Tigers. We're going to see him at halfback there. Blaze Taulagi, obviously the heavy rumors coming out of, like, you know, the Panthers and that he will be playing 6 for Penrith next year. We'll be fighting for that 6 jersey. I want to see it. And I think that watching him play 6 for the Parramatta Eels and seeing him, he was paired up with Dylan Brown. It was very similar to seeing, like, it was a duplicate Dylan Brown attacking wise on the opposite side. I think in the offensive end of football, he plays so much like Dylan Brown. Defensively is the only area he probably needs to fix up on a little bit. But I think the attacking side of things, I think he looks so much like Dylan Brown. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. Jose Tonga really improved towards the end of the year, or had a good final series at least. I thought that he probably had the good last 2 games of the final series. I've seen the stats out there. Obviously, he only missed like 1 or 2 tackles for the whole final series. I still think jury's still out on Isaac Tonga, and I really think that he's dealing with injury. I think that he's still dealing with that. I know that a lot of people are giving him a lot of praise for the grand final, and I think that he played really, really well. You know, but I felt like he had his ass hanging out, but like in a lot of big moments there. I like, you know, the amount of times I watched that and I was looking at him just getting up off the ground and slowly making it back into the line. I was like, just Melbourne just attacked that, like look at front foot. But then again, he made like 32 tackles in the grand finals and obviously, you know, only missed one. He had a, you know, big, you know, moment obviously where Xavier Coates made the break down the sideline, had to make the cover tackle on the pass back on the inside to Ryan Papenhausen. So he had a lot of great moments like that. Obviously had the try saver in the corner that ended up being on, I think, Jack Howarth. So he had a lot of good moments there, but I still think the jury's still out Isaac Tungo yet. I'm just not yet to be like, Tungo's just done and dusted, been there, did it on the big stage. 100% he did it on the big stage, did it against the best team in the competition, all that sort of stuff, right? But I still yet to see, and I still think out of that game, I would say that Penrith would prefer Paul Alamonte, especially with his contract, the way he goes about things. And then, you know, Isaac Tungo, I think that Casey McLean will be biting on his tails. Like, you know, I think Casey, I like Casey McLean a lot. Yeah. And as said, Jazz, I'm not trying to hate on his performance there. I think that he had a great performance as in 30 plus tackles, all that sort of stuff. But like rewatching it and just I pinpoint watching Isaac Tungo and just seeing how he goes about his business. I think he's dealing with injury. I really do. I think that his fitness is still not at the highest, like what it could be. Maybe it could have been down to that 30 tackles, but it was in the first half where I was noticing that he was slow to get off a ruck. I've got like message receipts on, you know, timestamps on when I started noticing him really falling off a bit, like, you know, especially getting caught at marker, stepping out, having hand on the shoulders. Like he was just, his body language just wasn't there in moments, but he still kept turning up. And I think that's the best positive I could give to him. He kept turning up. He had a great performance, but I think still jury is still out on Isaac Tungo yet for me. But I agree if anyone, you know, is like, yeah, that after that game, 100%. But I still think that he's still not up to the level that he should be yet. I really don't. Good performance, but he's still not there yet. Yeah, Ronnie would have been a good halves pairing with Jerome Luai, 100%. All right, moving into the front row pairing. So looking at these front rows here, so we're looking at Terrell May. We're looking at Va'alipu. I probably would see him off the bench, maybe if that. Keenan Palacia, you got Bahulu. I like Bahulu a lot. John Asiata can play in that position, could also play on the edge, could play at 13, so you could be looking at it as well. Francis Molo as well. So I probably would go Molo. I like Francis Molo. And I like Terrell May. I think that's probably the best two to start the game as well. And I think Terrell May would be in for a big shift here. So it's a big game for Terrell May, to be honest, to really show that, you know, in the Roosters system, he does it at that level. Let's see it for Samoa. And I think he can. But yeah, it's going to be a really interesting little game there. For that number 9 jersey, I would go Gordon Chankam Tong. But off the bench, I would go Paulie Roach. I think that I can't wait to see Paul Roach play off the bench and maybe even snag by the end of it, a number 9 jersey. I cannot wait to see how they utilize Paulie Roach off that bench. I think that's the way they're going to go. Was that Jose? Can we talk about UFC 307 before we end? Yeah, 100%, bro. We'll finish this off and then we'll jump off and we end the show there, all right? So we're going to go on my left side, edge back roll. Let's look at the edge back rollers here. We got Luciano Leilua. Simi Sasangi can play on the right side if he needs to. Jeremiah Nenai is a right side edge back rower. I would probably say it'd be a bigger Luciano Leilua. Or Sean Bloor, actually. I've missed out on Sean Bloor. Ooh, this is tough. I might go Sean Bloor. Because I know Luciano Leilua can play from the middle. Yeah. This is all just live, guys, what I'm thinking. So I do apologize. I'm taking moments to break and think about things. But I'm going to go Leilua through the middle and that 13 jersey. And then on the other side, it's going to be Nanai. For sure. I can't wait to see Jeremiah Nanai play for Samoa. And hopefully Luai and all that come together and really open him up. I cannot wait. Roach is definitely starting on my bench. Who else have I got here? I like Simi Sasangi. I like Va'alepu. I like Bahulu. I like John Asiata. Jazz Tavanga. Jazzy's got to be there for me. I would probably say maybe Pahulu. I like Pahulu a lot. We're going Pahulu. Let's see what other names we got. John Asiata, Kina Balasia, Lazarus Va'alepu. I think they might go Simi Sasangi. Let's go Asiata for now. I think Asiata's still got something to prove. Obviously, you know, playing over in England and that. Oh no, he's actually with Manly at the moment. Is that a late move? I'm not too sure, but he was over in England. But yeah, that's probably the way to go. That's probably the way I'm going to go. Yeah. All right, let's run through this, guys. At fullback, we're going to go RTS. On my left side wing, we're going to go Junior Ponga. And we're going on the right side, we're going to go Jarrell Skelton. I think that's the way they're going to go about things. I just love I love the work rate those boys will bring out of the back end. I could switch around Dean Mariner and Junior Ponga as well. Or even push Skelton to a center and have Dean Mariner on the wing. So I'm not opposed to any of that because I do prefer Dean Mariner at the moment, seeing him in first grade in the wing. Even though when I first saw Dean Mariner, he played a lot of center and I loved him at center. But I think, you know, jury's out at the moment on the top stage for Dean Mariner at center. So I'd love to see him probably step up in that position, but that's the way I'm thinking it's going to look. Jerome Luai, and we're going to go Blaze Talangi in that 6 jersey. I cannot wait to see that. Up front, Terrell May and Francis Molo. I think defensively, that's really solid. I think Francis Molo is going to put a lot of hits on, you know, and Terrell May is probably going to be the workhorse. He's going to turn over the meters and that. Chankam Tong in that number 9 position. My right side edge back row, Jeremiah Nenai. Left side edge back row, Sean Bloor. You could either go Luciano Leilua and Sean Bloor switch around too to be the 13 as well. But Luciano Leilua is going to be my lock. And then off the bench, Paulie Roach. I can't wait to see Paulie Roach in that Samoa jersey. Jazzy Devanga, Pahulu, and Asiata. I wouldn't be opposed to Simi Sasangi being on the bench, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Va'alepu or Balasia off the bench. I think Balasia's had a complete fall off at the moment. Would love to see him probably get back into form through Samoa, but I just think at the moment, Asiata can cover front row, edge, in the middle, in that lock position. And Pahulu, I just like what I've seen him in that Tonga, in that Titans jersey, you know, this year. He was the one that actually took over Balasia in that Titans jersey. So I would have to say that he probably had the jump on him in Samoa. But comment down below your thoughts on that, guys, before I jump over. Jose, do you keep up with the Super League, Ash? I try to as much as I can. It's not as easy as obviously rugby league and that, especially, you know, 5 o'clock wake ups, 4 o'clock wake ups and that. But I do wake up to watch the EPL, and a lot of times it's on around those same times. So I try to keep it in touch. I love watching it because it brings back the past of certain players that I used to watch, you know, and I was excited for coming in first grade. Jai Field is killing it over there. I love watching Jai Field. Obviously, Bevan French, a lot of people know. Cade Cust. I love Cade Cust as a football player. I love Matt Parcell, who's coming over. Definitely the Metaltia boys. Bro, like, yeah, I like keeping in touch with it, but I'm not as much of like, you know, I don't know the full ins and outs like NRL. Like NRL, I know as much as I can about any squad, like top 30, stuff like that, and juniors, where like, you know, Super League, it'd just be a lot for me to keep in touch with it. But I try to keep it like, you know, I try to understand a lot of it, like, you know, Brodie Croft. I try to keep in touch with a lot of big talents over there. Mikey Lewis as well. I really like Mikey Lewis, but yeah, that's kind of how I do my Super League. But I wouldn't say that I'm like, you know, if you're going to be like, who's the edge back rower for Hull, like I probably wouldn't tell you straight off the top of my head. But yeah, guys, that's going to be my team here for Samoa. That's my predicted lineup. First of all, I could see a lot of changes here too. I could see like, you know, different sort of thoughts, and I wouldn't be against it, but that's just my thoughts overall. The Sirenans, yeah, Jazzy, they're definitely over there. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry this wasn't as much of a, like, you know, proper, you know, scheduled out show and stuff like that. But, you know, so cool to sit down with you guys and really chat about footy and that. We'll quickly go through the Fijian squad actually before I talk about UFC. It's really, really strong squad overall in general. Sunia Turuva, obviously with the West Tigers now. I cannot wait to see him on the edge there for Fiji. Barty probably, is Dream Buller playing? No Dream Buller. So you probably end up playing fullback in this game. Really excited to see that. Semi Valamai and Mike Acevo would probably be the wingers. Kevin Aguama there too, obviously retired, so be good to see. Shout out to Michael Jennings getting a spot there too, obviously, with the Roosters. Tane Milne, Ringagama, a really nice little young player for the Canterbury Bulldogs. Wanga Blake, we all know Wanga Blake. Kurt Donahue, I love Kurt Donahue with the Dolphins. Got the ability to play 6 in that. I was really impressed with him for Fiji last year, playing number 6 in that 5'8" jersey. Really, really excited for him. Caleb Naval, really, really talented. Kaltonga for the Dogs. I love Katoni Kaltonga. Edge back row for the Dogs, hits really hard, hits like a truck. William Mikikau on the edge back rollers. So both those edge back rollers, I'm really excited to see them in Fiji. This is a really strong squad, guys. I do believe, in my opinion. Kamitha, Jordan Miller with the West Tigers. We saw a bit of him in first grade at the end of last year. Keg Smith with the Brisbane Tigers. I've seen a bit of him in Q Cup. Nafoa with the Manly Seagulls. There's a little bit of hype around him. Yeah, a couple other boys that I'll be trying to pronounce, but yeah, really, really strong squad on paper, guys. I believe, Suni Taruva, if he plays that fullback position, Semi Valamai and Mike Acevo is probably going to be my wingers. Tane Milne usually plays in that edge back, in that 13 jersey for Fiji, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I think that Michael Jennings and Kevin Aguama will probably end up playing. Well, actually, Michael Jennings will play center. Kevin Aguama usually plays in the halves. I think Kurt Donahue will play in the halves with him as well. I think edge back rollers, Viliami Kikau and Kaltonga will probably be the preferred edge back rollers out of this list that I'm seeing here. Novale and all that probably, really, really excited to see this Fiji Barty squad as well. I think they're going to be a really strong squad against PNG. I think PNG is going to be fairly solid as well. But no Buller. That's an interesting one as well. No Buller. All right. Do I follow a Super League team? Not really, bro. Not really. I bounce between a lot of them. Obviously, St. Helens is probably going around, one of the best teams in that, but I like Hull, what they're doing. I like Salford Devils. There's a couple I try to keep in touch with, but Catlins have always got a lot of really good talent. All right. Jazz, top 4 all-time heavyweight cover drinkers. Top 4 Fijians though, bro. That's a conversation. That is a conversation. All right, as Jose has recommended for me, let's talk about the UFC 307. Really amazing card. I got to see bits and pieces out of this. I had to go rewatch it because I ended up missing it in normal time. I was running around during the day, had a lot of things going on, but let's go through some of the biggest performances. Obviously, the big main event, we got Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. I thought Khalil Roundtree really surprised a lot of people to start off with this one. I thought it was incredible. Actually, Jose wants me to start on Wonderboy versus Buckley. I honestly thought, if you got off my scorecards, I had Stephen Wonderboy probably up to maybe 1-1. I thought Wonderboy was piecing him up on distance. I thought he was making him look silly. But the difference is, I think Joaquin Buckley, the age, the athleticism really got to him later in that round. And Joaquin Buckley ended up catching him. I didn't fully agree with Stephen Wonderboy's coaches saying you need to go out and go get it. I think that the best way Wonderboy would have fought is just kept the distance. Every time that, Buckley was coming in with those combinations, he was sitting out, had that check left hook, catching on the outside. There was a couple of head kicks that ended up getting in there. I thought it was a solid performance from Wonderboy. It just sucks that his chin gave away, and sucks that the athleticism of Joaquin Buckley was a big one. I think the big key thing you really could take away from that fight there is, the way that wrestling defense has gone. I feel like that if there was no cage, I think that Buckley would have had a lot more success against Wonderboy, but a really good experienced fighter like Wonderboy, using the cage to get up every time. He was so experienced there. Every time the takedown end up getting down, he was just sweeping his body straight back to the defense, wall walked all the way up, you know, try to bake the grips, try to get an underhook there. I thought it was a really smart, you know, fight there from Wonderboy until he got knocked out. Yeah, agreed. I had Wonderboy up 2-0 into the third. So it sucked the way it ended up there for him, but yeah, it is what it is. Willis T with the carpet trick is Ruben Wiki. Love to see it. Next fight on the card, we had Kayla Harrison versus Caitlin Vera. Fairly dominant overall. Yeah, Kayla Harrison's a strong fighter. A strong fighter. Next up in that one, we had Roman Delace versus Kevin Holland. A classic Kevin Holland performance. Just never know what you're going to get from Kevin Holland. I thought he started off on the feet fairly well. When he goes to the ground, and I love Kevin Holland as a jiu-jitsu artist. I've seen him do sport jiu-jitsu before, even in fights. I think he's got striking off the bottom, which he shouldn't be doing anyway. But he felt complacent on the bottom. As soon as he got there, he put his body triangle in from bottom, which is usually a defensive maneuver. Usually he'd try to swing his hips, something to get out of it, but I felt like that it was too far gone. Obviously, you know, falling out with his rib injury. Just a classic Kevin Holland, bro. That's the thing. Like, yeah, the rib injury was a big one, but before that, it was yet like just the way he was defending on the ground. It's just like he's a lot better than that. And it's just classic Kevin Holland. Sometimes he talks too much. Sometimes if you're betting on, I would never bet on Kevin Holland because you never know what's going to come out. You can get the Kevin Holland out of nowhere. He's going to be striking with you, looking real nice off the back. He's going to throw up some really nice, triangle chokes, some arm bars. He's going to throw up some really nice options there from the bottom. But in this one, he just chose to be defensive from the bottom, and moments where he ended up trying to get the sweep or anything like that, he just got himself caught and flattened out a lot of times. There's moments where sometimes in his jiu-jitsu, he just does things completely way out of left field. Like there's a moment there where he ended up, I think he got caught on his belly and he was completely flattened out. And like for a jiu-jitsu artist, like that's probably the worst thing you want to do from bottom, is completely flatten out. You want to kind of like get yourself together as in a ball because it's really hard to break someone down when they're like really close in together. But yeah, classic Kevin Holland. Sometimes you never know. And those rib injuries, yeah, they do kill you. Jose Aldo and Bautista, I actually missed a lot of this fight. But from when I caught up with it, I thought that Jose was doing fairly well. Obviously his age and stuff, but maybe Mario and Bautista, over for the whole fight. Yeah, probably the youthfulness and experience. But I feel for Jose. I did see that later on in the rounds, like obviously, and when it came to the decision, he thought that he ended up getting up on that fight. I'd have to probably go back on that and really watch it properly. Again, I missed a good majority of that fight. Raquel Pennington and Pena. I missed a lot of this fight as well. I jumped in halfway. I was messaging back and forth with Brody for this one. I thought that rewatching the fight the second time, I thought that Pena probably could have done more with takedowns later on in the fight. I felt like that she was finding a lot of like dominance there. She got caught a lot of times in mid-range in the striking with the boxing range. Pena gets so comfortable with just working off her jab, where Raquel Pennington's got a little bit more to her boxing game, and every time she caught her, it looked like it hurt. But Pena's tough, man, and to come out with a decision, I could have seen it going multiple different ways. I think Brody had it 2-2 going into the fifth, and Raquel ended up looking like she won the fifth round. I'm pretty sure that's the way we kind of scored it. But yeah, it's tough on that one. It's tough. If you defend 10 from 10 takedowns, you should win, yeah? See, like, I think it depends, man. It depends on what you do from it. Like, if you defend 10 for 10 takedowns and don't strike, like, I think the takedowns take precedent because you're trying to take the fight. Defending the takedowns, it's like defending striking. I think it only counts for something for yourself, as in the fact of like you not getting put on your back and getting put in a worse position. It shouldn't be scored as defending takedowns, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, I think you just got to do more with it. I got to see who won round 1. Is that in the Pennington fight? I think Brodie scored that round 1 for Pena, but yeah, in general. But lastly, the main event, brother, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. You know, I think Khalil Roundtree surprised a lot of people. Like, you know, I've watched Khalil since his Ultimate Fighter days. You know, if you go back and watch, like, he had this highlight in Ultimate Fighter where he soccer kicked this, I can't remember who was the fighter he fought, but he ended up getting on all fours and he was just soccer kicking him into the ribs. I'm sure everyone's seen it. But Roundtree's been through some multiple facets of his career. Started off as more of an MMA type boxer. Like, he was in there, he could like, he had a little bit of wrestling to him, but he'd love just to swing, overhand right, stuff like that. And then when he went to Muay Thai, he just came back a complete different fighter. That Eric Anders fight was like one of the most impressive fights I've seen from Khalil Roundtree, like, ever. And coming into this one, I thought that if he was able to show that off and really surprise Alex, I think he could have caught him. And there was a moment there where he did catch him, but Alex is just so smart, like a seasoned veteran in striking, that he understood that if he just allowed Roundtree just to round off the whole fight, that's where just the gas tank fucks you. Like, if anyone's ever sparred, like, when you're like on the back foot the whole time, you're actually doing more damage to yourself than not, like, in your gas tank. Like, Roundtree was just rounding off the whole fight, rounding off, and Alex Pereira, all he had to do was, you know, take one step to the right and he's opened up a range, he's opened up an angle, you know, take a step left. Like, he is just so clinical. It's like he knew that he was so slow, just methodical to start off. He took a couple of punches, but his jab strong. Like, you know, he snapped Khalil's head back a couple of times as soon as he started to find that right hand as well. He didn't connect as much with that left hook as much as I was hoping for, but when he got into that kill range, when Khalil was on the back foot, I loved these body shots, those body kicks, that head kicks. Like, Alex is an absolute freak, man. Alex is a freak and an incredible chin on him. But I think he's just like had an amazing game plan of range and how he just worked the octagon to his favor. So yeah, all credit to Alex Pereira, but also full credit to Khalil Roundtree. That is a tough son of a bitch. Like, he got cut up hard with that, the cut over his top of his eyelid there. And he was gassed, but he just wasn't looking for a way out. He was swinging till he's gone. I respect Khalil Roundtree so much, and I really do think some of those punches would have knocked out a lot of that light heavyweight division over the weekend, and maybe could have came out a champion, but he's going up against a generational talent, a generational striker, and Alex Pereira with that light heavyweight you know, competition there. So full respect to Khalil Roundtree, man. What we got here? All right. Alex Pereira had the best game plan, break him down, so good. Roundtree had heart of a warrior, though. His stock skyrocketed. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Alex was in his face, and what a chin. He adjusted well to the fight against the southpaw and found that cracking leg kick. Yeah, and like southpaw on southpaw, you can't really get the mad, like, you know, power through it and stuff. But still, bro, like, that guy, he must be just made of granite, eh? Like, everything he looks like he throws hurts. Who does he fight next? Ankalaev probably, but do you want Drakus at 205 or Alex going up against Jones or Aspinall? For the sport of UFC, I would love to see Ankalaev take him on. Like, just as a sport. For the entertainment factor of UFC, I would love nothing more than see him go up against John Jones. I would love it. I think the entertainment, the buzz in that fight would be hectic. Aspinall is a great fight as well, because, like, still for that light heavyweight division, Pereira's still massive. Like, the height advantage he had over Roundtree, the length advantage he had over Roundtree, and Roundtree's fought a couple of times at heavyweight before as well. Like, he's a freak, man. He's a freak. But yeah, for the sport, I'd love to see him go to get Ankalaev, because I want to see him against a proper wrestler that can put him on his back, because we've seen him try to deal with that in his career before. We've obviously seen Izzy. I think Izzy took him down in the first fight as well. Like, I really feel like Ankalaev will be the kryptonite in a way to him. But then again, we're talking about a generational striker here too that could probably keep the distance, those knees up in the middle. So that's for the sport, but for the entertainment factor, I think the name up in lights, him versus John Jones, would be a massive thing for the UFC. I feel like Drakus and Roundtree are similar, short, fury punches in and out. Yeah, and I'll just say Drakus's gas tank's probably a lot bigger than Roundtree's, but very similar. I totally agree. Jazz, haven't kept up the UFC enough, but you boys into boxing. I love my boxing, bro. You know, I'm not like, I probably don't know as many fighters what I do with the UFC and MMA, but, you know, I try to keep in touch with it all. But yeah. But even then, like, I couldn't, if it was come out tomorrow that Alex Pereira was versing Tom Aspinall, I think that's a fucking amazing fight too. I rate Aspinall so highly. Brody rates Aspinall so highly too. Yes, I did. In a decent knockout in the Contender Series today. And I think it all came at the back of Pereira end up going back and talking with Dana. I've seen Vikatov fights MMA before. I think he was 1 of 1 before. He's been beaten before. I still have Alex ahead of him striking wise, like in MMA, like just the way those boys like look in MMA. I would probably still have Alex in that, but another great striker in the UFC. I can't wait to see it. But we've seen this not go the right way. Like we've seen Junior Tougher and stuff like that in UFC. Like I obviously Vikatov's probably a higher level striker in the way of like technically like a better striker and all that. But I still think when you get into the ground, that's where you start to, you notice, right? I think that's where he's going to struggle more so. I really do. Wrestlers is like the big thing. And I think that's the thing for Alex Pereira is like, I think he's yet to go with a guy that's really, for me, like a decent wrestler to where I'm like, all right, I could see him get tested. You know, we saw earlier on him versus Bruno Silva. He got tested a little bit. But I think when we're looking at Ankalaev and that could lock you down on the ground like, you know, Alex probably had to work from bottom. That's where we're going to have to see. He does train with Teixeira though, which will probably add a little bit more confidence to maybe his ground game and stuff like that. But it's still yet to be seen. You're right, my bro. Appreciate you so much for coming through. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for coming through today. I'm so sorry it's not like a normal, you know, scheduled out show and all that, but I hope you guys enjoyed just talking with me for the last 2 hours nearly. Guys, make sure you comment down below your thoughts overall. I hope you guys enjoy the weekend. And also, yeah, we will return next week, Down Unders here on my channel, but also go check out Wise Up TV next Tuesday. Me and Levon come back together. We talk to you guys all about Pacific Championships. We go through both our predicted squads, our strength, our weaknesses. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get more into Pacific Championships. Now the normal NRL season is done. Let's talk some international football. Up the Wise, baby. Take it easy. Have a great weekend. Take it easy, guys. See ya.